Hi, everybody. At the movies with film. Back at you again. Got a film here that's kind of fun in two ways. It's a scary movie, and at the same time, it's got a little bit of comic relief. Some people argue it has a little bit too much comic relief. The Creighton Hale character kind of hams it up a little bit. But this is one of the early old dark house films, which became sort of a subgenre of the horror film. It's The Cat and the Canary, 1927. This film was directed by one of the great German filmmakers. We've shown one of his films, The Waxworks. Paul Leni. Paul Leni's Waxworks and a couple of other his German products really attracted the eye of American producers, and he was called overseas, as very much happened. In the Hollywood system, they would see talent overseas, and they would invite it with, offers of great wealth. Not that much creative freedom sometimes, but great wealth to come over to Hollywood and make films for them. Well, The Cat and Canary is one of those products. And Paul Leni also made The Man Who Laughs over here and Last Warning. He died, unfortunately, at an early age of blood poisoning. This film is one of those typical old house films where you've got a wealthy man who leaves his riches behind, and you've got the reading of the will. And we have a number of folks who are, all come together for this event, and, bad things can only be what happens when you get these folks together in this kind of house. The film has some interesting set design. Matter of fact, the guy, Charles Hall, who did the set design for this, worked in a lot of really nice genre works. He worked on the Phantom of the Opera, which we've shown on this show. He also did the set design for Frankenstein and Dracula. Ironically, he also worked in the comedy field because he did a lot of set design for Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin, he did City Lights, and he also did Payday, Idle Class, and some of the other items. The Circus, for instance, for Mr. Chaplin. Anything interesting else about this film? I think the biggest thing that you're going to find be interesting to hear from you, as a matter of fact, on this, is if you find this to be a frightening film, or if you find this film that creaking too much, or if the comedy relief is too much in this film. Beware, there's a lot of hands coming out of walls. There's the typical hand on the shoulder business in these films, trying to get you that sense of shock. But the dread in this film, the horror element, really comes more out of the setting that Charles Hall really was in charge of. And perhaps we better talk about the cameraman too, because he is important as well in the way that this film grabs our attention and the way it looks. The cameraman on this film was Gilbert Warrington. And he made a few interesting films. One, not a film, but he worked on, when I was a kid, one of my favorite shows, television shows, was Sergeant Preston of the Yukon. You probably remember that, Sergeant Preston of the Yukon, riding those sleds, the dog sleds and the whole business. Yeah, he shot on that television show. He also shot Panic in the Year Zero, which is a fun, apocalyptic science fiction film. Ray Milland. It's the only film that he directed. Ray Milland stars in it as well. He made also a film that we've made quite famous on this show. He was sort of the co-cameraman on this film, Mesa of Lost Women. Need to wake myself up on that. Okay. Remember, Mesa of Lost Women is one of those films that really put you into a stupor. I don't think this film will put you into a stupor, but certainly it might be close. Well, now that I've got this all over me, and I'm afraid of getting electrocuted now that I'm thinking about it, think you're going to have fun with this Cat and the Canary. Sit back, enjoy. Hopefully it's storming. Got to clean these gall darn glasses off. Roll 'em, Smokey.